on that list is Senator Brooke, who is the chair of the Mental Health Committee in the Senate. She also happens to be the sponsor of this event. So thank you. Senator Brooke has been not only an ally and a friend to us on all of our issues, but she is really somebody who is making sure that that committee that she chairs, the Senate Mental Health Committee, is making decisions that are going to impact us in a positive way. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Senator Brooke.
Make sure y'all can hear me. Can you hear me?
I need to know if the people on the stairs can hear me, though. All right, yes. Well, I'm Senator Summer Brooke. As Paige said, I also chair the Senate Committee on Mental Health, and I am so excited to be here with all of you in person. For 2 years, we got to see each other on Zoom screens and come through that way, but to be able to be here with you and feel your energy in the well, which I've never gotten to do before for an advocacy day, is really exciting. And in a minute, I want to talk about some of the exciting things we're working on, but I would be remiss if I didn't give a quick shout out to my Rochester people who are here. Please make noise. Yes, I love having so many local champions here. Y'all are doing the work on the ground, supporting your family, supporting other families, making sure families of color are at the table when we're making decisions. So, I'll tell you from my perspective as chair, when I started as chair in January 2021, there were a few things that I thought were big priorities. But I also did the rounds to listen to organizations and advocates and families and children to better understand what was it that I didn't know. But the things that we all agreed on were, one, we needed to better invest in our workforce. We needed to diversify our workforce, and they needed to be paid dignified wages. Which is why I'm so glad that, yes, hello, 8.5% COLA, she got her sign. Who has her sign? This is what we're fighting for this year, is to keep the 8.5% COLA that we have in our one house budget. And I want to push it further. I have a bill that the Senate introduced in our one house that would actually index these COLAs to inflation in perpetuity. So, yes. Which we will be talking about even more tomorrow. But Daniel's Law will make sure that the right people show up in the mental health crisis. And because of your advocacy, we were able to put $10 million in the Senate One House to finally move that forward. So we are making progress on these issues, but I'm here to tell you something. I cannot do it alone. I cannot do it alone. I need all of you to keep showing up. And we're so honored that you show up, not only in your communities, but you come out to Albany to make sure that we know what you need. So that's our commitment. I'll keep working with you. I'm so honored to be in this work with you. And I'll hand it over to Paige so we can hear hear from more of our speakers. Thanks all.
Talk about a true champion. Thank you, Senator, so much. After we have a leader like you in the Senate to speak for us and to make sure that you listen to us, and we really, really appreciate that. And I also want to say again, thank you for sponsoring this. The reason that we're having this in the Well, in such an amazing spot, because we can go right upstairs and meet with legislators, we can be visible to all the legislators as they come through, is because of Senator Brew. So again, thank you. Thank you. Now, and for those of you who've been here before, you know that our program gets mixed up a little bit here and there because we have to wait for legislators to be available. They're here, they're working, they're in committee meetings, they're going into session, and so when they get here, we try to put them in as quickly as we can so that they have an opportunity to address you. And with that, I'd like to introduce Assemblywoman Clark, who's here to join us today.
Yes. You know, we're just going to keep the Rochester train going. So honored to serve alongside Senator Summer Brugge, and so wonderful that she chairs mental health. It is a huge, it means a lot to us in Rochester, and I know it means a lot to us across the state of New York. So I'm Sarah Clark, Assemblywoman for the 136 out of Rochester. I am here, I ran for office, and probably the same reason why all of you are here. I am the parent of 3 teenagers. I understand how policy and the choices we make here in Albany every day affect us at home when we're dealing with our children and our families and the things that we know they need. You know, during COVID, I myself had to call crisis intervention for my oldest child to come to my house because he had, you know, refused to go to school and had a whole bunch of other things that he was struggling with. And, you know, what it made me just sort of double down on is that parents just we need support. We need help.
Yes.
We need options. You know, if we don't give parents the tools, we don't listen to what they need, if we don't help the children where they're at with what they need, we know we pay for it later. And we know too many of our systems criminalize poverty. We know too many of our systems criminalize families of color.
Yes.
We know too many aren't available in most of our underserved areas. And we have to change that. We have a leader on the Mental Health Committee. I'm on the Mental Health Committee in the Assembly. I'm on Children and Families in the Assembly. We are doubling down on making sure that we get the resources to our parents. We find our children where they're at. It's more money for school-based health clinics. It's more money for direct care workers. It's an 8.5% We know this will make a difference. We know these are the things that we need to help our children, but we have to listen to our parents. We have to understand that they are struggling, they need tools, they need numbers to call, they need the support to show up when they need it, in the moment they need it. And we are here as moms, fighting for you. I'm joined by another mom, Senator Jackson, Senator Summer Brugge. We are moms here every day who know the issues. The moms are on it. We're fighting for you. We will continue to fight for you. Thank you for showing up. Let's get this done this morning. I'm having to invite my colleague right up here, right after me. Oh, the amazing Assemblywoman Chantel Jackson, who tells us every day why social workers matter, which we already knew.
I am Assemblywoman Chantel Jackson, and my favorite job is being a mom. I have a 21-year-old, and I have an almost 2-year-old. Yes, I'm crazy, just like the rest of y'all. Why do we do things like this? It's because they are the loves of our lives, and if they are the loves of our lives, we are here to protect them. As your social worker in the Assembly, the people's social worker, trust and believe. Every day I am advocating to increase funding, put our money where our mouths are, to increase mental health services, because you see, as you can see, we need it. Amen? Amen. So trust when my colleague says the moms are on it, the moms are on it. We didn't come here to play. We came here to get things done. I'm going to sit here and Michelle comes back.
We also have Assemblyman Gibbs from East Harlem. We got any East Harlem folks in the house?
Thank you. I want to say thank you to Families Together in New York State and all the coalition members. I am honored to be here today. Today I stand with you all to demand that we put the needs of our children and families first. Behavioral and mental health services are desperately needed. When you're a parent and you know your child needs help, all you want to do is give them the care and the support they need. That's our parental right. We want to give our child the support and the care they need. When your kids are in crisis and parents need immediate access to services, waiting months for a therapist or mental health professional for care is dangerous. We need to make sure we have a robust and educated workforce to address the mental and behavioral health crisis affecting our children. We know that we need for our services only worsened by the pandemic. We need to ensure that we fund community-based programming for youth and get more behavioral and mental health professionals back to work. We have to get these professionals back to work. We have to do that. Let's make sure that we support initiatives that support our children and families, like universal mental health support in every school, funding child and family treatment and support services, support for the Behavioral Health Ombudsman, and creation of the Ombudsman for Developmental Disabilities. Let's pass the Solutions Not Suspensions Act. Let's pass the Solutions Not Suspensions Act to address children's behavior at school. This is a very important legislation that we need to pass, and I'm working hard on that along with our colleagues both in the Assembly and in the Senate. And the future health of our children is in our hands. And I stand with you to make sure that we in the state legislature, both in the Assembly and in the Senate, do our jobs and protect children and give families the services they need. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to say that principally and basically, we're here to support you. Let's support our kids, let's support our families, let's advocate, let's make sure that our colleagues in state assembly and the state senate do their jobs. Thank you, guys.
So I didn't get a chance to go around the crowd as we've introduced legislators. I just want to tell you who's in the House so that you guys can, give a shout out to your representatives. And then some of them are still planning to speak, but Suffolk County, you're in the House. Senator Dean Murray is over here. And then we also have, here she is. Senator Shelley Mayer is the chair of the Education Committee in the Senate, and an unbelievable ally and friend to us, and we're thrilled to have her here to address you guys. Senator?
Thank you so much. It's great to see so many people here in person, because we got to fight for our kids in person.
Yes.
Back up and do it by a virtual thing. We got to literally be here and tell people we need the state to step up and do what our kids need for mental health, for childcare, for after school, for support for parents, support for families. So I'm here along with my fantastic colleague, Senator Summer Brook. We in the Senate Democratic majority, our commitment is to the kids, to the services our families need, regardless of where you live. It shouldn't matter whose district you live in. The kids belong to all of us.
Amen.
And it's all of our responsibility. So I'm here as an ally, a partner. I'm committed. I'm from Westchester. Any Yonkers in the house? Me too. Proud to be from the YO. I'm here
Senator. For anybody who happened to see our town hall meetings in the past 4 weeks, we've been hosting town hall meetings about education, mental health, addiction, child welfare, youth justice, and each of those we've had senators, assembly members, and commissioners from those different departments that are working with us and answering questions. And if anybody hasn't seen any of those, you can go on our website, ftnys.org, and they're all there to watch at your leisure. You can watch them whatever, anytime of day you want. Another one of our allies has been Assembly Member Angelo Santa Barbara, who's been here in the Assembly representing people with disabilities for many years. He's one of us. When we said earlier, nothing about us without us, Angelo is one of us. So, Angelo?
Thanks to everyone for being here. And I got to know this group, and I got to know Paige back when she did work with the Autism Society of the Greater Capital Region. My group is at work. Oh, okay. And as she said, I got to know her through my work with kids with disabilities. I have a son who was born with autism. He's 21 years old this year. So we've gone through quite a few challenges to get to this point. And I'm sure there'll be more challenges as well. But it speaks to what we're talking about here today. So I want to thank Families Together New York for bringing us here together to rally, to bring our voice together for this budget, what this budget needs to be about. This budget needs to be about people, putting people first. That's where the investments need to go. That needs to be the priority. When it comes to mental health needs, behavioral health needs, nothing is more important than our children. We were just talking about this back at Ellis Hospital in the city of Schenectady, in my district, how important it is to address what that need that's been out there, but also what we expect to see down the road from what we've seen through the pandemic. Kids were without a lot of these services, a lot of these needs. My son had to go receive services through a screen, as Kelly Mayer just said, and it's just not the same. So we need to fight for expanded behavioral health needs for our children, increased access, and we need to support human services, the people that do this type of work. Right? 8.5%, right there. That needs to be in the budget. It needs to be number one. These services need to be there. So if that funding is not there, it makes it very difficult. We're going to continue to see the turnover. We're going to continue to see families, children go without, and that is just not acceptable. We have a chance, an opportunity here to make this right. So I hope the governor is hearing us. I know the Senate and the Assembly are on board with this. They want to push for that 8.5%. So we're going to keep fighting for that until it gets across the finish line. There's a number of investments that can be made, but it starts right here with this rally, with your voice, putting people first. Thank you all. Thank you. I'm inviting my colleagues to get this over the finish line. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member. So we have other people that will be coming in, other legislators that might be coming in, so we'll pop them in and pop them up to the dais whenever we can. But we want to get started with some of the other speakers. Again, us, the people who are people with lived experience, who are experts in this world that we work in, whether it's in mental health, in addiction, in youth justice, child welfare, all of these intersecting systems that our families and our young people are engaged in. And one of our young rising stars that happens to serve on the Board of Directors of Families Together as a youth representative, Isaiah Santiago, is going to speak.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Santiago. I am 18 years old, so when we talk about those kids, you know, I'm currently part of the Board of Directors of Families Together, where I represent the young people. I'm currently a candidate running for Rochester City School Board. I'm the youngest to do it, and this is a historic campaign, and we're going to make some change in New York State and Rochester, New York, and make sure our education and the things that we're doing in our districts, in our government, in our municipalities are catering to our young people. And the way that we do that is how we're doing it today. We represent. Let's give it up for each other. Let's give it up. And although I fill these roles, I don't stand here today strictly in those roles as a board member and as a candidate, but I stand here as a young person ready for change. I stand here as a young person ready for a reposition. We see every day in our society, we see every day in our communities, different issues. Issues we would have never guessed we would deal with at such magnitudes. We see issues that are unorthodox. We see young people getting involved in things that we would have never guessed. And my argument is that the only way that we can make effective change is to reposition the old policies and processes that's ineffective to our new issues. I say that the only way to make the effective change that we need is to have the young people at the table when it comes to young people. I say that the only way for us to make effective change is to have families stand up for our families. And there's so many budgets, there's so many policies that's currently on the floor, and it's on us to make sure that they're passed. We see Daniel's Law, which focuses on mental health emergency response team. We see solutions, not suspensions, which is really the reposition that's needed. We see that suspensions are ineffective towards our young people. Yes. Suspensions takes them out of the classroom, away from education, and to streets that may not be safe. Yes. So we must sit down. We must sit down and look at what we have going on and say that it's time for change, and we're the ones to do that. We're the ones to stand up, and we're the ones to say that we're not going to allow this to happen no more, because this is our children. This is our generation. This is our families, and we're going to make the change that's needed. And I want to encourage every young person here. I want to encourage every young person. I want to encourage every family member. Whatever table you sit down at, wherever you represent, I want you to understand that you belong there. You have the qualifications to sit there at that table. If you're sitting at a table full of senators and assembly members, that's okay, because you're the senator of your family. If you're sitting at a table full of assembly members and senators, that's okay, because you're the senator and the assembly member of your generation. If you sit at a table full of doctors and people with degrees, that's okay, because you're a doctor of your generation. So I want to empower everybody here that we have the voice, we have the change, and we're going to make it happen. Thank you.
That walk this journey every day. And I can say, just very grateful to be a part of Families Together, New York State, Paige Daphne, and the entire team, and of course our great senator from Monroe County, who is representing us well. So thank you so much, Senator Brooke and your team, and trusting us as a BIPOC grassroots organization that are concerned not just about the numbers, but about the lives. I just want to say it's so important as we look at this budget and what is needed. We need to have flexible spending and flexible funds. Everything is not a Medicaid billable. And I can tell you the journey that we walked the last 3 years does not fit in any Medicaid billable services. If I had the opportunity to go to a grassroots organization, sit and talk to a hairdresser, or even in a faith setting, I should have that opportunity to do so. So we want to make sure included in this budget is family support services that don't fit into traditional models. We have not prioritized equity. We have not prioritized healing circles, restorative practices that we know that work for many communities of color. And I also want to recognize Ronnie Pollock is here from the Native American Community Center, and we are committed to working with all. And if you do not know, mental health inequities are real. Mental health inequities are real. We know what the numbers tell us regarding the suicide rate of Black male youth. We know what the numbers tell us. And most recently, we know the Satcher School of Medicine and Morehouse College released a report that highlighted the cost of mental health inequities. 170,000 lives could have been saved, and $286 billion could have been saved. Mental health inequities and disparities are real. We need to prioritize the needs of our Black and brown families. Take it from someone that walked this nightmare, horror-story journey, that with supports, culturally responsive supports, resilience, and most importantly, that it's not, as I said, about numbers, it's not about outcomes, it is about lives. So in this budget, we need to think about it as we're advocating for items and areas. We need to think about the lives that have been lost and the lives that can be saved. We need to prioritize mental health inequities.
Thank you, Sarah. So well said. And we will be hearing more from one of the folks from our DEI department here at Families Together in a bit. It's been my pleasure to be able to introduce our next speaker, who is our Director of Public Policy, Brad Hansen. Many of you have heard Brad's name, you've seen Brad's name. Yes. Brad is the sole, not the sole responsible person, but the person who today is because of all Brad's hard work. I just want to say thank you, Brad. And that. So Brad is at our public policy department. And they have, of course, the help and support of everybody on our team. We have over 40 people working at Families Together now. And without all of the staff here, we wouldn't have had today be possible. And Brad and Zach worked so hard, not only for today, but for the town halls that I just talked about and that we all participated in over the past month. We made it used to be Family Empowerment Day, then we went to Family Empowerment Week, then we went to Family Empowerment Month this year. So the whole month of March has been Family Empowerment Month, and culminating with today, of course. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Brad, who's going to go over some of our policy agenda and stuff. Brad.
Oh man, it's been a lot of work getting you all here. Thank you all for being here. Again, Brad Hansen, Policy Director, Families Together in New York State. I want you to look at your packets. I want you to look at these signs. Everyone lift them up. Lift them up. Lift up your signs. Invest in family well-being. 8.5% cost of living adjustment. Families belong together. All these workforce, not wait lists, right? These are, we talk about like Families Together, we pull together a policy agenda. Oh, okay. That's my job. But my job's actually generating ideas with all of you every single day, every single support group that we show up at, every rally, every event, every survey you fill out, every take action you fill out. That is letting us know what we ought to be fighting for. And you here right now, today, we're doing this together. Families together. Families together. Families together. I was in a meeting recently, some families in Yonkers, right? Hey, what's up, Yonkers? What's up, Westchester? 30 people, and they're talking about some heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. How are we going to survive? That's one thing a mother said. She outpoured for 10 minutes, people are asking me, am I okay? Am I okay? Talking about the child, talking about CPS, talking about trying to keep their families intact. Poverty is what we should be fighting, not poor people. Poverty, not poor people. Right? And this mother is talking about how she does not have enough money to put food on the table. She's talking about how she doesn't have enough money to make rent. How many people here are struggling to pay rent? How many people here, raise your hand, if you're struggling with childcare? How many people here have been on a wait list for 3 months, 6 months, a year? This is what we're hearing from families and young people across New York State. Wait lists, excuse me, we need a workforce, not wait lists. Where's that sign up? Workforce, not wait lists. Families shouldn't have to wait so, excuse me, ooh, I think I just said that again. We should not have to be waiting in terms of months. That's not how we measure time when it comes to accessing services as families and young people. Time is experienced different as an adolescent. It's in minutes. That's how wait lists should be measured. Not months, not a year. Christine, I see you. Cody, I see you. I'll hear from you guys soon. And I'm so excited. So look at your policy agendas. I want you guys to litter the LOB. There are 9 floors. 9 floors full of offices that need to get those packets today. Because inside those packets, we're talking big things. We want to see an 8.5% cost of living adjustment for human service agencies, don't we? We want to see 50% of new mental health funding offered by the state to go to youth. Because 50% of lifelong mental illness or mental health challenges start by the age 14. By age 25, 75% of lifetime ills. But yet the cycle continues. If we do not invest in youth mental health now, we will be paying for it forever. Am I right? And so we say workforce, not wait lists. 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 Hell yeah. I'm so excited to put this mic down. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. I can't wait. Thank you for being here. We'll keep the word moving.
Brad's been working on those signs for 2 weeks. He wanted to have those rally cries. Thank you, Brad. Our next speaker is Tiara Sprader Love. Tiara.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We're going to try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. That's what I like to hear. So Isaiah, you dropped the mic, right? Like, I was like, you know. So what I want to talk to everybody about is youth power. If this is your first time here, welcome. I want to tell a bit about my story and how my story is relevant to all of the policy agenda items that we have right now. So I started out as a volunteer with Youth Power on their advisory council back in 2010. And today I am the director. And that's something I've never thought, right? Because peer work is real work. And Families Together values that. So here at Youth Power, we ensure peer support is available across systems, through advocacy, through technical assistance, through education and workshops. And right now, I'm going to share with y'all how I even got here, right? Because for all the young people here, you can be here too. Every young person, if you're on the council, if you're a regional youth partner, I want you to come up here with me. Because I didn't get here by myself. I need you to follow me here with me. Give it up for the young people in the building that are advocating for their needs. Give it up for the young people. So, when I was 14 years old, I had my first mental health breakdown, and I was mandated to treatment. At that time, the experience was a smooth transition from the hospital to a community provider. Fast forward to me at 18, I was at yet another breaking point in my entire mental wellness journey, and the goal was only to survive. Although it was a challenge finding a provider who took my health insurance, I did not give up because the goal was to live. I wanted to live. By age 23, I found myself yet again needing clinical support, only to be told I would be placed on a 2 to 4 month waiting list, no medication, and just a hotline to talk to somebody. How many have had that experience before? That waiting period was one of the most challenging times of my life. No one should have to wait to get the help they desperately need, the help we desperately want, and the help we desperately deserve. These are just a couple of experiences that have driven me to become both a youth peer advocate and a social worker in the mental health field. I have a growing desire to maintain employment in this field. However, how can I do that when access to services are declining while the cost of living is increasing and we are not getting compensated for it? Not only do we need to expand access to community services and supports, we need to care for those who care about us. Why is it that those who do the most get acknowledged the least? We are unsung heroes and we deserve to not only live, but to thrive. And as I said before, peer work is real work. You don't need letters behind your name to validate the work that you do with young people. Peer work is real work. 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 So, I say that in closing, as I lost my notes, and who needs them anyway, right? These are all young people who push forth all across the state. So we have New York City in the building. Make noise. Where's Western at? Where is Western? Western. Western. Come out. Where's Central? Where is Central? Central is in. Where is Long Island? Hudson. Where is the Hudson region at? Yes. So I'm bringing to you today, make sure you go to these offices. Make sure everybody gets a packet. Make sure you are amplifying youth voice. Make sure you are amplifying family voice. Make sure you are using your voice, even if it is just you showing up. Even if you are nervous and you don't know what to say, you just being present is you here at 100%, and we need you. Thank you.
Nice work, team. That's quite a team we have. Thank you, Sarah. Our next speaker is a new addition to the Families Together team. We have a contract with the Office of Children and Family Services to inject family policy advisors in their system to help advise the child welfare system on how to be more family-friendly, family-driven, and to just understand the perspective of us. And so we're thrilled to have family policy advisors in every regional office of the Office of Children and Family Services. And we're so grateful to that system for acknowledging the importance of peer support. We know that when you can work upstream, they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we work upstream to get the support to families that they need and young people, we don't have to worry as much about expensive, intensive residential programs and taking kids away from families because they've been given the support that they need. So one of our new family policy advisors from the Central region is Melinda Agnew. Melinda?
As we know, child welfare has divided many families. And the only way that we can stop them from tearing families apart is one, providing programs of helping families. So, what we need to do is pass the Miranda Bill of Rights for parents under CPS investigation. What that means is having, when CPS comes in, notifying the parents of their rights. Many parents don't understand or know their rights when child welfare comes in. And also, instead of taking children out of the home, why don't they provide programs to keep the families together? Support our families. And as for fighting for poverty, we support our is through one, education and training. Train our families, educate our families, educate our parents on how to take care of their families, to be financially stable with their families. So, just a little bit about me and with CPS. CPS came in and it took my kids. And when they took my kids, it was hard. And what parents don't have is that support. That support, CPS is for advocating for the kids, but who's advocating for the parents?
Right.
Who's there for the parents and letting them know, walking them through their journey, their pain and their trauma. So I say that right now, we do need to pass that Miranda Bill of Rights for parents under CPS investigation to require caseworkers investigating child maltreatment and notify parents and caretakers. And also need to end anonymous retaliatory child protective services calls. Because many people out there just getting calls and child protective is coming in and interfering in their life, and causing more trauma to the family, to the children. So I would like to say, we're going to fight poverty. We're going to support our families. Support our families instead of reporting them.
Hey everybody, I'm late for a meeting. So, I am so excited. We've been working since the summer, right, to bring caregivers and youth together as part of this larger campaign called the Campaign for Healthy Minds, Healthy Kids. We formed a Caregiver and Youth Council to co-lead this campaign alongside directors of programs like psychiatrists, advocates in the mental health space. We said we need parent voice and youth voice to be in equal footing, not just in the systems we work in, but in the advocacy space in which we advocate for systems change. We need to do this together, right? And so Healthy Minds, Healthy Kids Council members, are you here? You're coming up because we have two amazing leaders in our space. Yes, Christina, you too. Cody Hopman and Christina Hopman, who've been leading the charge, telling their story out in the press, talking about the dire need for a workforce and mental health care system for our young people. So please, Healthy Minds, Healthy Kids Caregiver Youth Council folks, I know I'm surprising you right now, give them support. Come on up stage.
First of all, I did not know that I was coming up here and speaking. Thank you, God. I thought Cody was just speaking. But I'm Christina, and this is my son Cody, and we are from Suffolk County. Our council, the Healthy Minds, Healthy Kids Council, is a full New York State representation. But we're here today, Cody and myself. I am the family care advocate on Long Island. I also supervise family care and youth care advocates. My son Cody has been waiting now 3.5 years for his full array of services. As soon as we get a service, the turnover is there, back to that workforce, not wait list. I see firsthand as a provider and a parent, both aspects of it. But for me as a parent, one of my worst moments, I found a suicide note that Cody had left behind. And this particular suicide attempt was a year after waiting for services. So while he was home on a wait list, I almost lost my son not once, not twice, but 3 times. He still today is sitting on a wait list. We need a workforce, not wait list. We definitely need that cost of living increase. But I'm going to pass it over to him because I'm a little caught up guard
as much because I wouldn't really have issues as much as I would, and I do, as someone who has not received their workers. As someone who has been slipped through the system at such a young age, I want to say 4 when I had my first hospitalization. And at a young age, it was just meds after meds after meds, and those meds were so close supposed to help me. They indeed did not. One of the many issues we have today is mainly racism and poor mental health treatment. And there's no reason why people who, in the next generations to come, should have to deal with what we have endorsed in trauma and just what's going on today. There's no reason. There's a huge correlation to mental health and drugs, which shouldn't be a thing. I shouldn't be seeing people, younger than me, ages like 9 through like 11, smoking marijuana. They should not have to be doing that in order to feel good about themselves, nor to feel just better. I'm sorry, it's really bad. I'm kind of want to be speaking. I have in the past done drugs to help cope, and I now know that I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't have to see my friends have to do drugs to feel better, to rely on other people to feel better. They should feel better by themselves. And they can't, because the amount of trauma they've endured over the years of living. Another issue we have is, in my eyes, the rent in New York. It is absurd. And I think that's another reason why we don't have enough people who care about people, well, not care, but workers, enough care workers in the force, because one, it doesn't pay well, which is crazy, it's so, important. But even to rent in New York and then have to work over 60 hours, at least 60 hours a week and still not be able to pay rent, which is crazy to think of. And I think that's why people usually quit, because they're either moving or it's not paying well. They have to take up more jobs and they'd rather just have a well-paid job. And I think it's just absurd. And there's no reason. Without fixed mental health right now, even if it doesn't happen the next 4 years, if we don't have, no change, but at least we're all here speaking and actually caring about it, unlike most. And without a fixed mental health system, there will be eventually no generation after us. It's gonna die out. You can't push mental health aside like what majority of people in higher power do. You can't do that. It's either you help fix it or we're just all gonna die out. It's like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of my spiel.
I've heard about Cody for years because we've been working with his mom, advocating, and she's taught him well. It's not just nothing about us without us. It's nothing about you without you. And so thank you so much for lending your voice and your story to help illustrate some of the issues. Thank you. Our next speaker is Karen Bolivar. Karen, you're going to talk about people down in the North Country
all the extra crowds in Albany. It took us a little longer to get here, but we're here. So Albany, come on, let them know. Let's hear it. We're ready for what? So as Paige said, I'm probably one of the senior family care advocates in the state, and I'm proud of that. I've been in the field for 22 years, so we've been through a lot of ups and downs. We've come through it together, and we really have set the stage for where we are today. So when people get discouraged, please remember there were people that made the pathway before you, and we've worked hard to get here. So today is always a celebration, always. Can we do better? Absolutely. So North Country Pride, I want to thank Amanda. She really got this bus trip together with Brad, families together, paid for our bus. We wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you. I'm not going to continue with all the policies that we've got, but the 8.5% cost of COLA adjustments has to happen. The work that we all do is very hard, it's very valuable. We sit with families, we sit with youth, and we hear them say, you are the ones that really help us the most. We help people between their visits to the professionals. We walk with them. We have to celebrate that and continue that and really reward people. If we want the workforce to continue as it is, we have to be part of the solution. So keep talking, keep working towards that. Really increasing the funding for school-based mental health clinics is where it's at. We all start out as a kid, right? We need to normalize what mental health is. It's part of our whole being. It's not in addition to, it's who we are. So let's get those services in the schools. Let's have the wraparound services available. Let's have the healthy steps, the home-based crisis intervention. Let's have a family care advocate in every school district. Let's have a to educate, we need to employ individuals, we need to empower them. You are not alone. And I listened to the younger speakers that were here today. You have got such passion and energy. Don't let this old body fool you. Because let me tell you, we've made the path available, and you're walking with us. I don't care what part of the state you come from, we are families together. We are parents, we are brothers. So let's stay together, let's stay united, let's keep our voice unified. We are not going to allow for anyone to give us anything less than we deserve. Our families deserve it, our children deserve it. Our society needs a change, and we are going to be the solution to that change. So thank you for being here. Thank you for asking me. I love the work I do, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. When Karen says she's a veteran, she's been coming here for probably 20 years. She's one of our trainers for PEP training and credentialing. Thank you so much, Karen, and thanks for bringing a group every year. One of the things that Karen said that I think is important to remind ourselves about that there are generations in this room, and those of us who've been doing it for decades, our responsibility is to be passing it on, passing the leadership batons on to you all, passing the microphones on to you all, and I've been so thrilled to see the young people who are not only future leaders, but current leaders, whose voices are being heard. And I think one of those people that is one of those examples is Charles Anthony Rice, who's been in Families Together, started as a youth, regional youth partner, because he has, as a youth with lived experience, and he's not old. So there was that. And then he evolved into being, because he's also a parent, he evolved into being a parent advisor. So what about that kind of succession planning? When you have young people who then become parents and continue that advocacy role, and we're helping grow leaders. And I saw a sign at the Women's March, the first one in DC, and it said, they thought we were seeds. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. And I love that thing. It's a Mexican proverb, a Mexican saying. And the young people, and nobody's going to bury them because they are the seeds. So I'd like to introduce Charles Anthony Rice.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's always great to be in spaces like this. My name is Charles Anthony Rice. I used to say I'm a young person, but I'm not. I have a son who's about to be 19 years old. So person with lived experiences within mental health, within child welfare, within alcohol and substance use, and within juvenile justice. So I come with a lot of lived experience. The thing I want to talk about a little bit today is the Youth Justice and Opportunities Act. It's time that we do the work necessary and spend the money that's needed in order to prevent our young people from reaching the youth justice system, rather than the comfort that we have found in reactive approaches that we take once they've already been involved in. It's time that we understood that our young people speak a language much different than us. And they are in fact saying all the right things. But as adults, we often fail to listen. They're crying out for help that isn't being received until it's too late. We live in far too advanced, far too knowledgeable of a society with access to services that those who came before us would have loved. But at certain services, you actually can't even get until you've actually already been involved in the system, or until you've already committed a crime. We can't continue to tell our young people that the sky is the limit, that they can be and do anything they want to, yet not provide the resources that they need in order to see the sky that they claim that is their limit. We leave $250 million on the table, allocated for Raise the Age every year. We must invest in the communities and the organizations within those communities that are doing the work and provide them with the support and the resources that they need in order to become sustainable and break this cycle. And as it relates to this right to remain silent bill, we can look at stories such as the Exonerated Five, a group of young black men who were bullied by police, and we're going to use the word bully. They were bullied by police and attorneys into giving false confessions to a crime they did not commit. And unfortunately, incidents such as these are far too familiar, specifically as it relates to our black and brown young people who are disproportionately represented within our justice system. Our young people have the right to not only know their rights, but to understand them. And this bill helps to take a step in the right direction. But we must understand that it is not just up to our legislators to make this change. We have been given a right that unfortunately a lot of us do not use. We have been given the right to vote. The right to vote, and I'm not talking about in these presidential elections. I'm talking about in our local elections. We have been given that right. We cannot complain about change not happening until we begin to vote for the people that are change agents and put them in positions of power. Our young people, our children, and I say our children because I have a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I say our children. They needed us then, they need us now, and they will need us tomorrow. So let's do what we have to do now so that our young people are set up for success to do what they want to do and have the opportunities to do what they want to do later. Thank you.
A young person from New York City who has been doing some dynamic youth advocacy around child welfare as well as housing for those who are aging out of foster care. So right now, I want you all to give it up for Jonathan De Jesus. Give it up, give it up.
years old. I am an advocate for You Gotta Believe. It's a permanency agency. I focus for that. And I'm also a co-chair for the Youth Action Committee for Families Together. And I am a national ambassador for the Center of Study of Social Policy. Aside from being a youth advocate, I am here today as a human being and as a youth who has been affected by the system, by the laws that are in place there, the policies that are in place, and how it's been affecting me, and it has affected other youth that are currently within the system. Throughout the last year, I got to work closely in this project called Are You Listening? We surveyed youth, over 100 youth, one-on-one interviews. We surveyed youth through one-on-one interviews and just surveys as well. And we came up with this study, it's called Are You Listening? And a lot of the main findings that we found was how these environments, these institutional environments are affecting these kids. You get removed from your home because it is unsafe until you get put in this place. In this place where it's unsafe for the youth, where you are in constant danger, whether it is from the staff or the youth that you are around. You cannot put a group of youth in a room and expect them to all coexist together when you are surrounded by staff that is not appropriately trained or have the empathy for your students. Throughout the year, a lot of these days is from 6 months to a year. In a year, we have 365 days. In those 365 days, there are 52 weeks. Within those 52 weeks, if I behave good, what is that supposed to behave? In your terminology, if I go to school and if I follow all these rules, I may or may not get to go home 52 times throughout that year. And really let that sit with you. How is it that we are keeping families together? So we will fight for that, to keep families together, to preserve the right to visit families, to support them in their communities, so that instead of separating them, we focus in preventive services for them to continue within their communities. Another topic that we had today was mental health. And a lot of these youth in foster care struggle with mental health, whether they come in there with mental health problems or after they leave. In a toxic environment that it is full of violence from other youth around you who are just trying to survive and exist in this environment following rules and restrictions. No youth that has been removed from their home because it was unsafe should be in an environment that feels like the next step to jail. I remember being in foster care, and I was in a residential treatment center. There's a campus, over 100 youth in there, and you can imagine how many staff and supervision there is. How is it that I got to feel lonely when I am surrounded by all of these people, when I am surrounded by all of this support that is supposed to be here, giving me life? Why is it that I am in an institutionalized setting and I am not receiving the proper care, whether it is food, the nutrition that is food? I don't want just starch. I want vegetables. I want what is needed for concentration. How is it that I got removed from home, where I was supposed to meet my needs for health care? And here I go. Now I have to fight to get my glasses, to get my braces. I have to fight to receive the proper doctor, because the doctor that you are giving me have no knowledge of what I'm going through or experiencing at this moment. We push for partnerships with lived experiences. Nothing about us without us. We need to partnership with organizations with lived experience, and focusing on eliminating institutionalized settings, as well as banning and just reducing the restraining system that they have for this youth when you are in the care. Your behavior does not mean you should be treated like a criminal in these settings. Now, we forward things a little more when you are leaving out of care. You're 18 years old, now you're figuring out where you're going to go next, as you're trying to survive in your mental stability as well. Here you go, you're not mentally prepared. You're in the system where you're, every day from the moment you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you're instructed what to do and how to go about it. Now you're 18, you're living from one side of the state, moving to the other side of the state where you're aging out of care. And here you are, now you have to figure out how to maintain this place. There might be NYCHA, there might be places that they give you. How do you maintain this? How do I take care of myself? myself when I leave out of here. When I'm in the system where I'm constantly just surviving, where I'm constantly fighting to meet my needs, where I'm constantly asking you to listen to me, to hear my voice. I think that for me, living in the system, the biggest part for me was also not being able to have my voice heard. So we need to fight for transparency and for the accountability that this staff that are treating this youth, they deserve. We need to make a room for these youth voices to be heard and understand that this is real life stories. This is the youth that are suffering and are struggling for every single day as they go through. As you are leaving out of care, you're struggling to figure things out, your stability, your rent, your finances, and then you have a program that only gives you $300, but with this, you're supposed to survive. With this, you're supposed to take care of yourself. And then, if you bring in every cases you need, and if you bring in the immigration part for the youth that do not have the proper documentation behind there, who is to support them? Who is looking out after them, after they leave from the system? Here to them, I'm also here to just speak on the fact that we need to increase community support as well. Earlier, someone had mentioned being able to support these communities so that we prevent them from going into the system, so that we prevent them from going to a step closer into the juvenile system, so that we prevent them from going into homeless, from going into drug addiction, because every single one that is created, and every youth that does not receive the support that is needed when they are in the system, they go down this other path, because who else is going to guide them? Who else is going to support them throughout here? So, with that said, so on behalf of all the young people that worked in this report, and on behalf of the thousands of youth that are waiting in the foster care system to find a home, to find a stability, to feel like they belong somewhere, I want to ask you, are you listening?
So our last speaker for today is, or for now anyway, we might have some rallying going on after we eat. But Rabbi Simcha Weinstein is a member of our staff, a member of our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department. Simcha?
All right, well, let's make some noise! I'm also a proud advocate of a 17-year-old son on the autism spectrum. And when he was younger, I was privileged. I was in the Disney world of early intervention. And when our son hit puberty, everything changed in a nanosecond. And when I needed help the most, there was the least. And when I was in crisis, the only people I could turn to were peers. I love the peer workforce. Give it up for the peers. Okay. I wrote this 1 minute page. I wrote this 5:30 this morning. Diana Mendez, you called me 5:30. I told you I was on the way. I wasn't. I was fast asleep. You called me 5:30. This is what peer stands for. Peer stands for P. Power. That's a peer. They got power. Youth power. Tiara, where are you? We love you. Peer stands for empathy. We have empathy. We understand. We got empathy. Peer stands for engagement. We know how to engage. And finally, a peer stands for resilience. We are resilient. I just want to say that ChatGPT has all the answers. Go online, ChatGPT. Everything at once. There's one thing that ChatGPT doesn't have, and that is lived experience. I want to say that tiny changes today can make dramatic differences tomorrow. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
is today, but for all that you would do. But for what you do. The workforce needs to be respected. You obviously need to get paid. The bill that's currently before the state legislature needs to pass. I am with you as the Attorney General. It's really critically important that we increase your COLA increase 8.5. And that we stand with you each and every day because you think about others before you think about yourself. And that's why I enjoy and I love each and every one of you. I am the Attorney General of the state of New York. No one is above the law, and I'm with you. God bless you.
Oh my gosh, what a nice surprise. So we've got lunch here. We've got box lunches over here, and we've got staff ready to hand you turkey, chicken salad, and ham. So just come up to the staff person, the people standing at the table, tell them what kind you want, and they'll get you your box lunches. And we're going to come back and sit down and eat while we do some more